I'm not a lawyer, but court was back in session for day 12 of Diddy's federal trial. So let me fill you in on what happened before lunch. Deonte Nash was back on the stand and he was still just as blessed as he was yesterday. Diddy's defense attorney, Xavier Donaldson, continued on with cross-examination, asking Deonte about the time Cassie wore green to the VMAs. And if you recall, Capricorn Clark also testified about this, saying that Cassie had input into this look and this decision. Deonte says that this look was a group idea, but it also required Diddy's approval. Xavier Donaldson confronts Deonte with some of the things he testified about during direct versus what he told prosecutors in previous interviews. In one example regarding Cassie's eyebrow and the bed frame incident, Donaldson points out that Deonte didn't tell prosecutors in the interview that Diddy kicked Cassie while she was bleeding. And to this, Deonte says he only answered what was asked. So anything they didn't ask specifically, he didn't mention. In another example, Donaldson brings up Cassie's 29th birthday, and he seems to suggest that Deonte never mentioned Diddy telling Cassie she couldn't do this, quote, one thing, or that he was in the corner pointing in her face that night. And again, to this, Deonte says he didn't answer what wasn't asked and that he never wanted to be involved in this case. Moving on to relationships that Cassie had with other people, when Xavier Donaldson asked Deonte if he knew Cassie was still in a relationship with Diddy while she was in a relationship with Kid Cudi, Deonte says, quote, oh, okay. Donaldson says, you didn't know? To which Deonte says, I thought she and Puff broke up. Next up is questions about Cassie and Michael B. Jordan. Deonte says Cassie was in South Africa and he was at a Revolt conference in Miami. Donaldson says, so you... And before he finishes, Deonte, seemingly unprompted, says, quote, yes, I did hook her up with Michael B. Jordan. I know where we're going with this. He fine, she fine. I mean, why not? Donaldson says Gina, who Cassie and other witnesses have testified was another woman that Diddy was seeing, was also in Miami too, but Deonte says don't put that on him. He says he was kept away from seeing Gina. Donaldson then clarifies, quote, so you set her up, her being Cassie, with Michael B. Jordan? Deonte says yes, and Mia, the anonymous assistant, drove it home making sure she had his number. Donaldson then doubles down saying, quote, so a bad boy employee set her up with Michael Jordan. And then Deonte clarifies saying, that's Michael B. Jordan. Don't mess that up. And then two athletes Cassie apparently had a relationship with are also brought up. An NFL player named Andre Branch, which Deonte says he doesn't know him, but he does call him a cute football player and confirms he was aware Cassie was in a relationship with him. And then a man named Brandon from the NBA, but I don't know which Brandon, and I can't tell what Deonte had to say about him. And then pivoting to Diddy's relationship with other women, Deonte says that Cassie was upset by it because it affected her career. And referencing Gina specifically, Deonte reads text messages where he told Cassie to ignore it, but he couldn't remember the exact context of that text. He tells Donaldson, quote, I'm sure we were being antagonized by your client. Then there's even more text messages read, and this next set seems to reference Cassie going out too much. In the messages, Deonte says, where are you going? Cassie says, secret trip out of town. And then Deonte responds, girl. He says he responded, girl, because good friends don't pry. In another text from October of 2013, Cassie says, quote, I already said I'm going to ask Puff if I can go, but I've been turning up too much lately, which is true. Deonte Nash admits that even though he and Cassie had been friends since 2008, she didn't mention freak-offs or her being in videos with other men until about 2013 or 14. He recalls a trip to Vegas over the 2016 to 17 New Year in which he was in Cassie and Diddy's hotel room, and she tells him that a man was coming over and so he needed to leave. According to this reporting specifically, Donaldson then seems to imply that Deonte leaving that hotel room shows that he wasn't concerned about her safety or what was happening, to which Deonte says he was always concerned, but yes, he still left. And then another text message is read from around that time. It seems by this time Cassie and Diddy had went on to Mexico. And in the text, Deonte tells her that she and Diddy should enjoy themselves because they don't get to spend a lot of time together. Cassie wrote, I spoke up for myself. And then Deonte replies that he wishes he was there with them, meaning in Mexico with them, not like with them. Deonte finishes off that text thread saying, girl, you always on vacation. Which again is the defense trying to show that Cassie had agency and freedom. She was out on trips, she was hanging out with friends, she was seeing other people, and the Vegas example used to show that she was a willing participant in the FOs. Deonte Nash's cross-examination is wrapped up with him confirming that he did stay in contact with Diddy after he stopped working for him. And he says it's because Diddy was, quote, cutting up. He confirms after Andre Harrell passed that he sent a text to Diddy to make sure he was okay, and Diddy wrote, quote, "The trainer, you could have given me a heads up," with a black heart emoji. And then Diddy wrote, "How is she?" She, meaning Cassie. Deonte says he has never spoken to Diddy without Diddy asking about Cassie. In a 2020 text to Diddy, Deonte wrote, "I love you. Anything you need, I got you." Xavier Donaldson asked Deonte if he congratulated Diddy that same year after Diddy won an award. But Deonte says, quote, "I don't think so. I asked how to RSVP to his party for someone else." The attorneys do some quick redirect and recross after that, and then Deonte is let off the stand. And then the next witness is the anonymous assistant who is being referred to as Mia. And it's a lot. And Mia's testimony is supposed to be used by prosecutors to support the RICO charges as well as claims of forced labor. Now, in addition to working as Diddy's personal assistant, Mia says she also worked as the director of development and acquisitions at Diddy's company Revolt, but she says working with and for him was toxic. She said his mood changed all the time and he would throw things at her, including throwing her against the wall, throwing her into a pool, throwing an ice bucket at her head, and she says he assaulted her on more than one occasion. Mia testified that the hours she worked was extensive. She said she was told the job would be 24/7 and she would be paid $55,000 a year, but she ended up only making $50,000 a year, and she once worked 5 days straight without sleeping to the point of having a physical breakdown. She says her hearing went out, her equilibrium was off, she had blurred vision, and she became hysterical, and only at that point did Diddy tell her she could go to sleep. Jurors are shown a list of Mia's responsibilities while she worked for Diddy, which included maintaining all of his social media presence, keeping him on schedule, protecting him at all times, staying within his eyesight, unless advised otherwise, and anticipating his needs, whims, and moods. She also testified that she would be required to do random things like cracking his knuckles, writing his next movie, and doing his taxes. While on the stand, Mia recalled a time in 2009 or 2010 when she left Diddy's home after he fell asleep, but she says she got in big trouble for that. According to her, Diddy sent his security team to go find her. Mia also says that when she would stay at Diddy's houses, because he had a house for staff and also staff members would stay at his house, she says he would say, "This is my house. No one locks my doors." And so she wasn't allowed to lock the doors on any of the bedrooms, but his security personnel was allowed to. Mia says that eventually she was able to progress from being Diddy's assistant to working at Revolt, but when she first got the job, she was still maintaining her duties as his assistant. According to her, she and Diddy started Revolt together, and getting to work there finally reflected the work she was actually doing, because according to her, she had basically been running his production company for years. When she started at Revolt, she said she was making $70,000 a year and then eventually moved up to $100,000, but she says they were supposed to also be getting bonuses, but she never got any. From there, prosecutors move on to asking Mia about her relationship with Cassie. Mia says she and Cassie were really close, like sisters, and are still close to this day. And from what she observed, Cassie's relationship with Diddy was violent, toxic, and unequal. And she says that for Cassie's career, Diddy decided everything. The prosecutor then has her read an email that Cassie sent to her, Diddy, Capricorn Clark, and some others to illustrate the control he had over her and her career. And it says, quote, "I," meaning Cassie, "have been informed that I cannot perform on Monday due to overage in costs. I have worked very hard, but I cannot support myself on the things that I need in order to move forward and make this show happen and run smoothly." Diddy responded to the email telling her to find another executive and also that she wasn't ready and doesn't want to embarrass herself again. Cassie responded to this saying, quote, "If that were the issue, I would. So since you no longer want to support your artists, I have to pull out. No label support, no show." Mia says Diddy didn't only just oversee Cassie's music career, but he also inserted himself into her movie career. She says he would show up on set and the production would stop. She says everyone would be nervous and he would be asking a lot of questions and making suggestions about Cassie's hair, clothes, and her nails, and she would have to send photos to him for approval. Mia also testified that if she or Cassie did anything wrong, they would be punished, and the punishments would be scary and unpredictable. Diddy at times took away Cassie's car and jewelry, but she's also seen him throw Cassie on the ground, chase her, crack her head open, and she once heard suitcases being thrown in the foyer, and when she saw Cassie afterward, she was outside crying in a bush. From there, the prosecutor has Mia tell her version of events for the bed frame eyebrow incident, the incident that Cassie and Deonte Nash both testified about. Mia says she, Deonte Nash, and Cassie were all in Cassie's apartment preparing for a trip. Diddy was able to get a key from the front desk, and he came in the apartment yelling and asking Cassie if she had been drinking because she wasn't answering his calls. According to Mia, Diddy threw Cassie to the ground, and when she and Deonte tried to jump in, Diddy at one point had Deonte in a position where Mia says she was scared he was going to kill him. Mia says she jumped on Diddy's back, but he threw her off, and that's when she realized that they were in real danger. According to Mia, Diddy slammed Cassie's head into the corner of the bed and she began bleeding. When the attack was over, Mia says that Diddy told her to schedule an appointment with a plastic surgeon and tell the surgeon that Cassie fell when she was drunk. Mia also testifies about the Prince party that Cassie testified about. Mia says that night Diddy told her to stay with Cassie and that he was going to be at his house with his kids. But then Mia heard about the Prince party and her and Cassie began debating like little kids on if they should sneak out of the house and go to the party. The two of them ultimately decide to go to the party, and while there, Mia says she saw Diddy's bucket hat come through the door. She says the two of them locked eyes and then Cassie just started running through the house to go outside and hide. Diddy was eventually able to catch up with Cassie, and according to Mia, he threw her to the ground and started attacking her. Prince's security team intervened to stop him, and the next day, Mia says she was told she was being suspended without pay for being insubordinate. In detailing another example of violence, Mia talks about the time that she, Diddy, and Cassie went to Turks and Caicos in 2012. She says she was in her room and was woken up to Cassie saying, "You've got to help me, he's going to kill me." The two of them then pushed furniture to the door to block Diddy from coming in as he was banging and screaming. Mia says her room had a patio that led out to the beach, so her and Cassie ran through the back, and she remembers, quote, being amazed that even while running fast, you could be attacked by bugs. During another trip to Turks and Caicos, Mia says that she and Cassie were again running from Diddy, and so they got on paddle boards and went out into the water. She says Diddy was on the beach screaming at them, but as they got further and further out, the sky got dark, and so the two of them began debating if it was scarier to deal with Mother Nature out on the water or if they should just go back and deal with Diddy. According to her, they eventually went back to land to deal with Diddy. When the prosecutor asked Mia why she never called the police, Mia says, quote, "I believed Puff's authority was above the police. This was before social media and Me Too. There were no examples of people standing up successfully to someone in power such as him. I thought it was under the confidentiality deal with Puff's business." Mia then testifies about more injuries that she saw on Cassie, as well as an audio recording that she says Cassie took of Diddy attacking her. Mia then describes Diddy finding out about Cassie and Cuddy's relationship. According to her, when Diddy found out, he was heartbroken. She says she'd seen Diddy angry, but this was different. So much so that she emailed Diddy's security guard, D-Rock, saying that she was worried about him and that this felt different. Moving on to hotel rooms, Mia says that she would sometimes be the one who took Diddy and Cassie to the hotels. She would unpack the bags and set everything up, as well as bringing them things they needed while they were there and cleaning up when they left. Mia says that the rooms would be destroyed and really nasty. She said there would be candle wax, broken glass, blood, wet towels, and oil on the walls. At this point, the testimony transitions into experiences Mia had with Diddy herself. She testifies about feeling forced to take narcotics at Burning Man, as well as a time that she saw Diddy taking some narcotics on his way to an appearance with Chelsea Handler. Y'all know this trial is full of name drops. She says once she started working at Revolt, Diddy would constantly threaten to take her projects away or take away her credits on projects. She said their relationship would alter between her feeling like his best friend to him then berating and humiliating her. Mia says Diddy threw things at her, including a bowl of spaghetti, because he once told her to go get some people, but she was on her cycle and needed to change first. And so, in response to this, she says he threw the bowl of spaghetti at her and told her to get the F out of his house and then chased her outside while she was barefoot. In another instance, Mia says that she was in a trailer, Swiss Beats was there, and the Wi-Fi wasn't working, so she went to go check on it. But when she came back to the trailer, Diddy told her that she should talk to Bill Gates if she has to, and then he, allegedly, threw his computer at her head, but it missed. During another violent incident, Diddy was using her phone, but because she had called him an a-hole in a message, she didn't want him to see that. So she tries to get her phone back from him, but he runs into the bathroom and then slams her arm into the door multiple times. When he later gave her the phone back, Mia says he told her, quote, "I wouldn't want someone going through my phone if I had what you had in there either." And then he said, quote, "I sent all of your compromising or inappropriate photos to my phone so that I got something on you just in case you got something on me." Transitioning to detailing the intimate assaults, Mia says that there was a huge party at a hotel for Diddy's 40th birthday, and while they were there, he asked to speak to her in the kitchen. They go in there, and he tells her that she's doing a good job, and she doesn't need to be nervous to ask him any questions. She says he then offered her 2 shots, and she remembers wondering if she ate because according to her, the drinks hit her really hard. And then she says Diddy leaned in to kiss her against the wall. And the next thing she remembers is sitting in a chair in the main room of the penthouse as the sun came up. Mia testified that she thought it was a huge accident that would never happen again, but then she details a time in 2009 or 2010 when she was sleeping at Diddy's house with the door unlocked because she wasn't allowed to lock it, and she was woken up to Diddy on top of her. She says this interaction was quick, but it felt like forever. And then, while crying on the stand, Mia detailed another assault that happened at another of Diddy's homes. She says she was on his bedroom floor putting things in a bag when he came over and used her mouth for what he wanted to. She says there was another time on a private jet, and every time, she says she didn't have the time to stop and reflect on what happened. She just had to keep it moving like it never happened. And although she says she never wanted these interactions to happen with Diddy, she says there was no way she could tell him no, not about a sandwich or anything. She was afraid she would become a target and he would fire her and ruin her future. She thought she would lose everything that she worked so hard for and that she also could be physically attacked. Prosecutors also asked Mia about another assistant that was fired. Mia says that this assistant was fired after she told Diddy's chief of staff that she thought Diddy hit Cassie. Later on, Diddy told Mia that if that assistant filed a lawsuit, Mia would need to take the stand and testify that the assistant was drinking and punched Mia, and that's the reason the assistant was fired. But Mia says she never ended up having to testify. According to Mia, Diddy also told her that if Capricorn Clark ever sued him, she would also have to testify in that trial to defend him. When prosecutors asked Mia why she never went to police about the intimate assault she says Diddy did to her, Mia says she never considered going to the police because she didn't think it was an option, and also because of an interaction she herself had with police. She says she was pulled over for speeding without a license, and when she told the officer who she worked for, the officer told her to get Diddy on the phone. And when she did, according to her, the officers were very excited and ended up letting her go. And with that, day 12 ends. Also, no recap from me tomorrow. I'll be traveling, but hopefully I'll have one on Monday.